Shabbat Shalom, my friends, and welcome to our Torah studying community. To those of you in Israel and Australia and England and France and Canada, even in the United States, Bruchim Habayim. Happy post-July 4th, America. Happy post-150th anniversary, Canada. Hello to everybody, and thank you also very much for caring about our study. I want to begin by mentioning, with respect and with sorrow, the passing of Rabbi Meir Zlotowitz this past week. Never heard of him? Well, Rabbi Zlotowitz was the genius behind what became the Art Scroll Bible translations and commentary. Rabbi Zlotowitz understood that translations of sacred texts must meet high literary and aesthetic standards, and that the commentaries that accompany those translations must be accessible to serious lay people and not just to those with advanced yeshiva educations. Rabbi Zlotowitz was a committed Orthodox Jewish scholar. His immediate audience was not the Reform and conservative communities, but truth be told, many of us in those communities owe him an enormous debt of gratitude. Yehi Zichro Baruch, may his memory be blessed. We are entering into the hottest part of the summer. It's certainly that way here in Santa Monica, and I hope that you will continue to stay in touch with our weekly Torah portions wherever you are, even at the beach, even hiking up into the mountains. Let Torah not be very far from you, pretty close to the sunscreen. Our Sedra is Balak, Numbers 22:2 and 25:9. Okay. Even though it's not Yom Kippur, we're going to begin today with a little bit of true confessions. I'm a bit of a medakdek, a perfectionist when it comes to pronunciations. Not pronunciations, pronunciations. It certainly has been a trait that my children have found to be particularly annoying, but it has been effective over the years. But every once in a while, I encounter a word that I just cannot do correctly. Such a word is Donkey. My default pronunciation is donkey. I know that it should be donkey, but I haven't been able to master donkey no matter how hard I try to twist my lips around. So this is going to be a very difficult taping lesson for me, and I beg your forbearance. I'm going to be a little bit tense. Now, the social media guru, Ned, who lured me into this now incredible process of teaching Torah through Facebook and YouTube, talked with me this week. Talk with me about our Sedra. He's in Michigan now. And as such things often happen during our chat, I began to consider some things about our Sedra that frankly I'd never thought about before. Here's the Sedra in a nutshell. It's really interesting. The king of Moab heard that the Israelites moving from Egypt to the Promised Land were approaching his territory. That king's name was Balak, and Balak panicked. He knew that he would be outnumbered by the Israelites. He couldn't win a war, so he came up with a very creative idea. He would bring Balaam, a pagan prophet from Midian, and ask him to curse the Israelites. Balaam was known to be a prophet of Adonai. That's right, he was a pagan who apparently was in good communications with Adonai, the God most closely associated with the Israelites. In any event, with the support of Adonai, parenthetically, our God, those Israelites could be easily decursed and then defeated, and that would be that, and Balak would be happy. A royal delegation reached Balaam's home and conveyed Balak's request. But Balaam sensed God's disapproval and refused. And then came a second request from the king, this time with an offering of vast wealth. You come, you do, you curse, you're going to be very rich. Still, Balaam sensed Adonai's disapproval. He refused. Then there was a third request. This time Balaam felt that he had to go. He could go. So he harnessed his donkey and headed out. But on the way, something very strange happened. The donkey saw an angel of God blocking his way, and that donkey refused to proceed. Balaam reacted with anger, beat the animal, and then heard the donkey explain to him what was going on. That's right. The donkey talked. A biblical Mr. Ed. And you know how this ends. Balaam blesses the Israelites with words that are recited every single morning of every day of the year when a Jew prays. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. That's right. Those words in our Sidurim, written by a pagan prophet who was supposed to curse the Israelites but ended up blessing him. There's so much more, but let's focus on that talking donkey. Where else in the Bible do we find a talking animal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right, in the book of Genesis, the serpent. The serpent spoke. Now, do donkeys talk? Well, not very much. This is an old folk tale, a fable, a story for children, and yet, if we drill down just a bit, what's really happening here? An animal senses a truth that a very wise human cannot. A creature of nature speaks, and a prophet doesn't understand. Nature itself is speaking, and we refuse to hear nature's message, or even worse, we hear the message and then we choose to ignore it. Why? Because as former Vice President and elected but never inaugurated U.S. President Al Gore puts it, the truth that nature speaks can be very, very inconvenient. Balaam's donkey saw that angel blocking his way. But the one who truly saw the angel but refused to acknowledge its message is Balaam. Cursing the Israelites would bring Balaam great wealth and great influence in the region. Besides, what did he care about what happened to this band of former slaves who could be seen, after all, as threatening the status quo in the region? Balaam went for the gold, even though every message that he felt that he was receiving counseled him otherwise. So we shift. The flooding of parts of the rebuilt World Trade Center by Hurricane Sandy, the devastation wrought by Katrina, the threats to low-lying Houston, the shrinking ice cap, the increasing rate of species extinction. My friends, nature is speaking, and we keep going for the gold. Sometimes my doctor will tell me, Stan, your body is speaking to you. Pay attention. Does a body have a more articulate way of speaking than Balaam's donkey? We get signs of our body's messages. How? Weight gain that does not melt away that it used to. Shortness of breath after minor exertion. Strange numbers when our blood sugar or level of evil cholesterol are measured. Nature is speaking, and we keep going for the gold. Old growth forests disappear. Deserts expand. Certain varieties of dolphins suddenly no longer can be found. That includes dolphins that win the Super Bowl. Now, tourism threatens the fabulous ecostructure of the Galapagos. Nature is speaking, and we keep going for the gold. No, donkeys, or as I quite frankly would prefer, donkeys, don't actually speak. But the world of nature certainly has found a way to communicate with us. An angel stands before us with sword upraised, blocking our paths towards self-destructive behavior. The message is clear. The only real question is whether or not we will open our eyes, our minds, our hearts to what that message is, no matter how inconvenient. Oh, okay, I got it. You think I'm pushing the connection between our story and the survival of nature. Okay, fine, I'm just one of those radical left-wing people. That's what I do. But then just ask yourselves, why did the rabbis claim that that donkey was created twilight on the sixth day of creation, when everything was just about finished? That donkey was created. What? As a warning that all of that which God had brought about could be destroyed if we don't act responsibly. My friends, maybe we really should pay attention. Well, that's it for this Shabbat. Have a wonderful weekend. No one saw, apparently, any red heifers during this past week. Maybe this week we'll see a talking donkey, or maybe that angel. Please hit share. And I'll see you next week. Shabbat Shalom.